Welcome to Grow Green Barbados. I'm your host, Dr. David Bynoe, and on this episode, we look at growing healing herbs in your garden. Now, Hippocrates once said that nature is our best physician. If nature is our best physician, then a garden is our best pharmacy. Medicinal herbs generally have savory and aromatic properties, and these are normally grown around the home and also grown commercially for their health benefits. Now, 80%, and you heard that correct, 80% of the world depend on medicinal herbs for their health and maintenance of their health. And that's why it's so important that as we grow as a society, that we don't forget our roots. We don't forget the benefits of the natural plants that grow around us that can help us in terms of treating our health and maintaining our health and wellness. So let's look at basil. Now, basil is known as what you call a halophyte because basil loves water. It's a water-loving plant. And therefore, if you want to grow basil, the easiest thing to do if you don't want to buy any seedlings or you don't want to buy seeds and grow them from scratch is to get a cutting. You can get a cutting from a neighbor. You can find a hard basil in the supermarket where you're purchasing it, and you can take it home and just place it in a cup. You can do the same thing for what Bajans call broadleaf thyme. Just place it in a cup. And within a week, you're going to start to see roots emerging. And when the roots become sufficient, like in this case, you can then take this and transplant it. You want to be able to transplant it in an environment that would allow it to maintain moisture, because that's very important. And that's what I'm talking about matching the environments. So in this case, we can take basil and we can plant it in a plant pot. But we want to ensure that we're using either soil that is going to hold a lot of moisture or compost from your organic compost heap that I showed you how to do a couple episodes ago. So the compost that you have broken down, organic, free from any chemicals, pesticides, herbicides, weedicides, you just place it in there. Now note, this is a different method. You're going to see another method for plants that don't like that much moisture. And once you have that there settled, it's very simple. You're just going to make space for this cutting to go in. You insert the cutting and you then surround it again with the compost. Make sure that it's firm, and you have that in there, firm in the center. Now, outside where I live is pretty windy. We want to put some additional compost to make sure that it's firm. So we'll leave that there for now, and then I'll add some additional compost. And you have your basil ready to grow. Alright, you can put it right by your windowsill. You can put it outside in the patio. And if you are more adventurous like me, you would grow it also in your garden beds. I'm going to show you some mature basil and how it grows within the garden bed. But if you want this to thicken a bit, you can take off the apical bud, which is basically this part that's growing at the top. This controls how plants grow. Once you take this off, you can clip it off, you can snip it off. It sends a signal to the plant that the plant is on the track, and therefore it seeks to grow because dominance is broken, and it sends up some auxiliary shoots from the side, and therefore the plant tends to widen much faster. So that's one trick of the trade to ensure that you get your basil to bunch quickly. So we spoke about basil, and of course when you're planting that basil, you want to ensure you keep it moist because what? It's a hydrophyte. But now we're on to a different plant, aloe vera barbadensis. Barbadensis because it was identified first in Barbados, this particular type of aloe vera, and that's why it gets the name barbadensis. Most of the products that you see for skin, for the face, anything to do with aloe vera shampoos is going to be barbadensis because that has the highest quality in terms of gel and in terms of what you can use it for as it relates to the medicinal properties. But what we want you to understand is how to grow aloe. It's a very simple plant to grow. You really can't get it wrong. But because I said aloe vera is a xerophyte, it means that it was adapted to grow in conditions with very little water. So when we look at this aloe vera and we know it's a xerophyte, it doesn't like a lot of water, we have to change our planting method. It means now that instead of just putting compost there, we have to provide a medium that is going to drain well. So it needs a soil that drains well, and to do that, what we then would proceed to do is to start the base of our potting with some stones. You can use grit, you can use large stones, you can go around the house and pick up some stones and put in at the bottom, and you want to put about a third or quarter of the bottom with stones. The next thing you want to do is you want to put some sand in there. You want to get some sand in there. You know, in Barbados we have this brown sand that you may find on construction sites. We have the sand quarry in Walkers, and amazing work is happening at Walkers because they're actually redeveloping Walkers into a place where they're going to be able to basically restore the quarry using permaculture. So you can put some sand in there, and you want to be able to put at least, if you're doing it in quarters, you put a quarter in stone and then you put a quarter in sand, right? So you want to fill that. So now that we have our stone, we have our sand, and of course the stone is there because as the water goes down, we don't want it settling around the roots too much because it's a xerophyte. It doesn't love water that much. So it allows it to drain. The sand also allows it to drain, but it also has the ability to hold some moisture. But then you top it off with some compost. And this is a container that's already topped off, having the different layers and topped off with compost, right? And this is a demonstrator here, but I'm going to move this now. And this is probably what you're going to want to plant it in, especially if you're planting around the home. In terms of having it in your patio or indoors or on a windowsill or some area that is within the interiors, because it would be able to have the decorative appeal at the same time. Just before I plant this, I want to demonstrate something. Let's look at this. This is an aloe vera plant that was actually planted in water, and this has been rooting and it's still growing lovely, but it's not growing fast. This was in here for a very long time because it is not water loving. In fact, you see some of the roots actually start to rotten. So it can take water for a while. The roots are going to grow really well. So if you wanted to get it started fast, you can put it in water until it starts to root. But if you keep it there for too long, then you're going to get some problems like this where the root actually dies. So at this stage where you're seeing roots coming out, this would be a good stage to do to transplant. However, aloe vera is what we call a resilient plant. It's very adapted to using low water. So you can take the aloe vera directly from another plant as a sucker. You don't need to put it to root it if you don't want to. And you can just plant it directly. So we're going to go directly in to this medium here. You make sure that you're getting a proper hole that it can fit into. Remember, we have the sand and stone in there. We want to be able to cover it back. And we firm it up, try to get it in the center, because when it grows out, you want it looking nice and lovely in the center as much as possible. When you're finished putting it into the compost and into those layered levels of the planting pot that you're using, and you still don't want to water it that much, to ensure you only have to probably water it once every 2 weeks or so, you can just put some mulch around it. And this mulch could be colored. So you can color it to create a contrast. This could be colored red. If you prefer a different color, you can color it, or you can just leave it like this. But the important thing is that you're just creating an environment where you don't really have to do much with the aloe. You just pot it and you water it maybe once every couple of weeks. Aloe is so adapted to low water that if you want to water it just once a month, you can. And because of the way how the system is set up, where we have sand, stone, and then compost, the roots will follow the water where they need it, and if they don't want to follow it, they wouldn't follow it. So they can stay across the different layers, and therefore the plant will just grow in a way that suits it best. We started with basil and ended with aloe vera barbadensis. But just as basil likes to refresh with lots of water as a hydrophyte, I also need some refreshment, and you need some refreshment as well. So you can always take your basil, even some aloe once you don't get the green part in it, put it in some water and have it infused overnight, and just refresh yourself with your very own your very own garden pharmacy. Now, I'm not gonna pretend to be a chef, so you know what we're gonna do. We're gonna shoot to Chef Adrian in our homegrown segment.
Hi guys, I'm Chef Adrian Cumberbatch and this is Green Herbs. We're using today a stir-fry Angus beef with some vegetables, locally grown vegetables, Christophine, carrots, pumpkin, onions, and of course some chives and some parsley in this mixture here to make it all lovely. Very, very simple. This is going to be quick and easy. Okay, plenty herbs. We want to chop the chives. You want to chop the chives at an angle, pretty big. Stir fry the vegetables usually cut in julienne, as we have there, and the herbs cut on the bias to make it a little bigger. Okay. Got some parsley there. Some quick, rough chops of parsley. You want to see the vibrancy from the herbs coming out in your main dish today, okay? Good. Stir fry beef. Season up. Chef mixture as per norm. Salt, paprika powder, garlic powder, onion powder, all-purpose seasoning inside here. 1, 2. I have my teriyaki glaze here. Add the teriyaki glaze to that. Some chopped herbs. The herbs are just chopped. And you want to mix this around. Make sure everything is evenly coated. Get my pan on and going. Alright, so first thing you want to do is cook the meat. This is beef. You can eat beef up to rare. Some people like it blue. I'm going to saute it quickly, get the outside sealed nicely, and then add the vegetables so you get a nice, bright, crisp, vibrant, not overcooked. You do not want to overcook the beef, okay? To your pot, you're going to add a tablespoon of oil, and you want to make sure your pan is extremely hot. Stir frying. Get your pan, you want your oil to be extremely hot as I mentioned before. And then you're gonna add, let's test it. 1 piece of beef, let's hear. That is the sound you wanna hear, always, music. Oops. So as soon as the first 15 or 20 seconds is gone, you can now start to add your vegetables. And plenty herbs. You want this to be, you want your vegetables and your meat to cook exactly the same time. You don't have no overcooking of the beef. Let's shake this here. Oh, looking good already. You to add some sesame seeds. Just ready, you know, this is how I like my beef. This is exactly how I like my beef here, medium. Add your teriyaki glaze, some more. But this ready. I don't want my beef to be overcooked. One more time we get a little spice. Flavor pepper. This is not hot pepper, this is flavoring pepper. Add some flavor to the dish. They last. Are you ready? I am ready. Get my stove off. It's time to play this lovely dish here. Take your time. Everything is so crisp and fresh, the vegetables. Beef is not overcooked. Actually, I like the sauce. This dish. We'll always tidy up the dish. No leakage in front here. Alright. Finish off is a nice jar more fresh herbs on top of this here. And of course some sesame seeds. So guys, there you have it. Thank you very much. I'm Chef Adrian Cumberbatch. Bye bye.
I'm Sonia Peters. I am the Executive Director of the Biocultural Education and Research Program. And I would like to add that our mandate is promoting the value in our plant biodiversity and also the embedded traditional knowledge for food security and health. We use plants as sources of food, but food is also our medicine. So when we grow our own food in a controlled environment, we should have greater confidence in using the product or the produce from what we grow. I think most of us, for example, know about the value of aloes, and it would be a great thing to have an aloe plant growing at your home because it's great for burns, it's great for keeping the skin in good condition. And we also know within our tradition that it is good as a purgative as long as you know how to use it. Wonder of the world, I do believe, and this is the leaf of wonder of the world. It is also at times called leaf of life, and this is because it is thought to be loaded with many important agents for health. One of the properties of this is that it is a very regenerative plant. If we were to plant this leaf, or rather, I say plant, but if we were to rest this on the soil, the leaf is going to begin to regenerate from each of the nodes that it has, and new plants will arise. So that regenerative property that the plant holds as a whole, we can make use of that. One of the uses that I think probably is better known is for colds and flu, where we take a leaf from wonder of the world and we chew that with a pinch of salt, and it is a good remedy for cough associated with colds and flu. And I have used that, and it works miraculously to soothe the reflex associated with that irritation. We also have what is called parsley here. Purslane is the term more internationally known. And this beautiful succulent herb grows everywhere. You'll find it in the midst of your lawn, at the beginning of your garage, and I speak from experience. But this was a very important herb during the period of slavery, as it was used for sore throat. But it was then incorporated as a green vegetable, and this is something that we are looking at having reincorporated. Working with JMP Farms Limited, we have done a mini trial at how we can domesticate the parsley plant. What are the growing conditions it favors? How well does it grow? Does it grow differently in terms of how the plant extends itself under these conditions, so that we can inform others who may be interested in using or growing the plant. And we have then been innovative in terms of incorporating the parsley into novel food items. In addition to that, this plant is very important because it's a source of omega fatty acids, which are good for health, and it's also a rich source of vitamins and other phytonutrients. So here we have the lovely lemongrass, very aromatic. When you break the leaf, you can get that lemony aroma, and this plant we know has culinary value, but it also has medicinal value for fevers. So this short walk through what I consider to be an ethnobotanical garden space and also a food medicine garden space demonstrates the importance of us being more resilient, and in doing so we need to become greener and grow more of our food and the items we need for our nutrition and health. So grow Green Barbados.
Thomas Edison is noted as saying, the doctors of the future will give no medicine, but they will interest their patients into the care of the human frame, diet, and the cause and prevention of disease. In our next episode, we will stick to our roots. Grow Green Barbados.